You say it was an ancient Pokeball, but not the variety from Sinnoh way back in the day, not the very first Pokeball, not the one we're so fond of. So what was in it then? What could have possibly... Hello? Well, that's a little bit rude. An ancient Pokeball. Never heard of that one before. Oh, they're here. Are you my 10 o'clock appointment by any chance? A new trainer wanting to start their Pokemon journey? Okay. Just a quick question. Did you run into some issues on your way over here by any chance? I thought so. I couldn't help but notice you're looking a little bit, well, just a little bit beat up. Can you give me some details before we start, before we really get into things? Just tell me what happened for a quick few minutes. Okay, so you were on your way over here to the Pokemon Lab to pick your starter as you usually would. But then you ran into some issues. It was a Spearow you found, an injured Spearow. And it was being hounded by a gang of Pikachu. So I have heard a similar story with another trainer at some point. How nostalgic. Okay, and then you tried to help the Spearow, tried to rescue it, but you ended up injured. Okay, and what was it these Pikachu were using? Like, was it Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Volt Tackle, and Electro Ball? Arceus Almighty, how are you even alive right now? I mean, sorry. Just a little joke we Pokemon professors have with each other. Okay, so you were injured and then you were discovered by Molly, the healing specialist. And then she brought you on your way over to the nearest Pokemon Center and then you got patched up. As much as you could anyways. Okay, I've heard of this Molly. She's quite a specialist indeed, but I've heard she only usually focuses on Pokemon, so I guess you were quite lucky then. And I take it the Spearow was okay as well. Okay, well, that's a good thing at least. So, okay, well, given the circumstances, first things first, you will be getting your starter today, but given the shocking situation you were in, I think it's best that we just do a quick medical exam just to make sure that you're okay. I know that you say you're perfectly ready now, but just given that you're, well, feeling a little bit zapped, I think it's just best just to make sure that we make sure that you're okay. Alright? Okay, so then, I think, just let me put my notepad down here. I think first things first, introductions are in order. So, my name is Professor Great Balls. So, and your name? Okay. Well then, I hope you are excited to choose your starter. And given the circumstances you were in, quite the start, we have to say. But surprisingly, not very uncommon. So, I just want to check that you're able to, that your eyes are still functioning okay. Because sometimes, given that many electric attacks, that could be quite a shock and could potentially hurt your vision. So could you just look at my nose for me? Just ignore this light. Okay. And does that feel okay? There's no pain or anything like that. Okay, so keep looking at my nose. Just going to cover this eye for a second and just see how your pupils react. Okay, so they're still dilating as they should, still reacting to the light. Okay, this won't be quick, by the way, it's not going to take too long. I know you're excited. Everyone is. Okay. Okay, and then that's looking good as well. Okay. Can you just tell me how many fingers I'm holding up here? Okay, and then how many do you see here? How many here? How many here? And then how many here? Okay, that's fine. So now let me just take your temperature, because obviously, well, being shocked like that could be quite a situation, but surprisingly, it doesn't look like it's too bad. I think maybe it's just a little bit high, but nothing that should be any need for concern. Okay. So I think next thing is that just because of these attacks that the Pikachus were using, you said it was electro balls. Goodness. Okay, well, in that case, usually, sometimes when electro balls are thrown, believe it or not, at humans, it can leave behind a certain amount of static, kind of like a paralysis for a Pokemon. So, I think for the moment, we have these special little things here that can help remove them, because sometimes, given how much you keep jolting, it could be because of these little electro sparks that are being left behind after the attack. And so we'll have to remove them, and that should guarantee that you feel just a little bit better. Okay, so now tell me, why did you want to become a Pokemon trainer? Just wanting to get those 8 gym badges and then inevitably face the champion? I see. So there is also other opportunities as well. I know some trainers that started off with that type of goal, wanting to become as strong as they can, meet as many Pokemon, but some became Pokemon veterinarians, others became contest winners. I'm sure you may have heard of May or Serena. Yep, they started their journey in a very similar way as well. Or, of course, there is the classic Cynthia and Steve being the champions that they are. Plenty of inspirations out there to help with what you wish to do, of course. Okay, so we have just a little bit more here. So, according to my notes, you did gain some details before your way here. So tell me, you arrived from Horn. That's where I'm from too. And now you're here in the Kanto region. So why did you choose the Kanto region then? Was it because your family was moving or anything? Okay, I see. Well, you picked a good region to start your journey. There's plenty of fun Pokemon here. Personally, one of my favorites as well. It's been a delight working here and seeing all these trainers flourish in their own ways and attaining their dreams. Okay, so I think that's looking good. How are you feeling so far? Okay, apologies for the noise there. So I think now I just want to see how your lungs and your heart are doing, just to make sure, because obviously that can give quite the jolt. So just going to put it here, and then can you just take a big deep breath in for me through the nose? Okay, now hold it. Okay, now release through the mouth. Okay, now let's Let's go on this side, same thing again, just take a big deep breath in through your nose. Okay, and then out through your nose. Did that feel okay? Alright, now then, just going to go on the back here again, breathe in. Okay, now breathe out. And then one more time, breathe in. And then breathe out. Did that feel alright? Okay, like I said, it's going to be very quick. Okay, and then now I want to try and just scan you just to make sure that the electricity is out. Again, we took care of the electro ball, but now we need to take care of that volt tackle. The volt tackle is a little bit tougher. Sometimes it takes a little bit more of a delicate touch, and this special device kind of pulls away the remnants of what's left over. Okay. I'm thinking that maybe those Pikachu weren't exactly too strong. That's why they were in a particular gang. Were there any Raichus or Pichus involved? Okay, well, given that it was a gang picking on a Spearow, I would assume that maybe they are not the nicest bunch. I would therefore recommend that maybe we try to get some ground type Pokemon to handle them if you ever run into them. Not that you should, hopefully not, just you never know. But we'll get to that later. That's the fun thing about these Pokemon journeys, you just never know what you'll encounter. Okay, I think that's perfect for that, and then now we can, sorry about that. Now we just need to pluck away the couple of little sparks that are still kind of jumping around you here. Are you still feeling okay? Good, good, good. Okay. Let's just start off with these two. And again, we're just going to pluck around here. These are very little sparks, so they require a very delicate, very intimate type of tool here. Start off on this side here, and move on to this side as well. I like to especially hang around the ears as well for some reason. That reminds me as well, we should check your hearing, given that electro balls and volt tackles can be quite loud, so we need to make sure that you're sounding okay. Although so far, you seem to have heard everything I've said, okay? Okay. Even so, I'm still just going to check. Okay then. In that case, now let's just move on to an actual hearing test here. I'll just use this special little thing. So, can you hear that okay? Okay, and would you say it sounds rather low or rather high, the sound? Okay, and then what about on this side? Is it the same type of again, same question. Would you say it sounds rather high or low, the sound? Okay. So then, can you just close your eyes for me? And I want you to tell me if you hear this on the left or the right. Okay? Right. Okay. Good, good. Keep it up. Alright, then. Okay, excellent. And now next, I want you to tell me if you hear the same sound or if you hear my glove. So keep those eyes closed. Okay, and which ear was that in? Okay. Okay, and which ear was that in? How about that one? That one? That one? Okay, perfect. Okay, well, that was a little bit short. I think we've established that your hearing is doing okay as well. So I think the last thing I've noticed that you keep like looking around at the room, and although I realize it's probably just out of excitement, I just want to just check your vision one more time. Is that okay? Okay, so have our little Pokeballs here. Well, not so much little. I just want you to tell me exactly the different colors we have. So we have ourselves a quick ball here. And so what color would you say this is here? Gold, yes. And then what color do we have here? Blue, yes. Okay. And then what about this one here? What's this? What color? Black. Well, not so much a color or shade, but you know. Okay. And then what about this here? White. Perfect. Okay. And then we have my personal favorite, of course, the legendary Great Ball. So again, same question. What color do we have here? Blue, yes. And then what color do we have here? Red, exactly. And then what about on the bottom here? Okay, and then would you say that this front part is the same color as this? Okay, and would you say the shape has any corners on it? It's a weird question, I know. Okay, and what shape is it? Perfect. Okay. And of course we have the classic Pokeball here. So can you tell me, is this top part the same color as the background? Okay, and would you say that this is darker than this part? And would you say that the ball itself is more square or more round? Okay, and if I flip it over, is this still the same color? Okay, perfect. Well then, my friend, I think we've established that you are ready to choose your starter now. So congratulations, you're doing just great. It's just good to make sure that you're doing okay when you get in these certain situations. They are not uncommon, like I said, but they can still be relatively dangerous. So, are you ready to get started? Perfect. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to get up. Each starter, I would show you in their Pokeballs right now, but well, they actually just arrived here today and they're very tired, so this is also why I'm keeping my voice down, just to help them rest a little bit. So instead, I'm going to show you a picture of each, discuss their stats, their likes, dislikes, all that fun stuff, and you can obviously decide which one. Alright, so the first one we have is Fletchling. Now, Fletchling is, of course, the small robin type of Pokemon. It is a normal flying, so already got two types covered right there and then. And then it also has an adamant nature, which means it increases its attack but decreases its special attack, and that is ideal for physical attackers just like Fletchling. It also prefers spicy food, so if you can think of any particular type of berries and whatnot, might be something to consider. And Fletchling itself is, considering its normal flying, it can be strong against certain gym leaders like Viola with her bug type or Corona with her fighting type. But the only thing is it's relatively weak against Grant and his rock type. So about 2 out of 3 for the very first few gyms, so can be relatively helpful. So after that, I will now give you a look at the third and final form of Fletchling, which is Talonflame. Relatively good favourite. Now, the interesting thing about Talonflame is it obviously keeps the flying type, but it now switches to fire. And of course, the base stat is 499. Now, the thing with base stats is usually you want to aim for a Pokemon that has around 500 as a regular base stat, but that's only if you only care about the strongest, about having the strongest of the strong. But again, this isn't a rule book or anything, it's more or less just what can benefit you, what can help you most of all. But given that Talonflame is 499, obviously that's a little bit lower. But if you're more interested in only getting your favourites, if you have a certain team already in mind, then by all means you can. It's just, if you find yourself in certain tougher situations with gym leaders, other trainers, villain teams, then having something with around 500 base stat can be beneficial, almost like a powerhouse as it were, just to make sure you have time to maybe heal or revive your Pokemon or anything like that, alright? So it's just a baseline, a recommendation. Okay, and Talonflame's superior stat, much like Fletchling, is speed. It has 126 speed, so of course, especially for just if you're starting out and you choose Fletchling, just means then you already have the benefit of getting the first attack in. So, of course, even if you need to run from a battle as well, the higher speed means that you can obviously just run away for whatever reason if you need to. Okay, and yeah, I think that's it actually. Yeah, so that's our first starter. Okay, so next on the list we have Axew. This is a pure dragon type, and the nature is also jolly. So that of course means it has increased speed and decreased special attack. And given that Axew is a relatively slow Pokemon, a jolly nature is extremely lucky. When it comes to these starters that we try to get, we always try to find the ones with the most ideal nature. Because of course the last thing you want is to go off on your Pokemon journey with your starter, but due to a very unfortunate nature, it could be very disadvantageous, and of course that could be very underwhelming or disheartening, and we don't want that, especially given that we are responsible to make sure that you are prepared. So, and given that Axew is also a pure dragon type, that also means that a lot like normal types, it's not necessarily very weak to many other types, so that is also a benefit. So yes, although unlike Fletchling, it only has one type, ironically, it can actually be quite beneficial. And of course, Axew also enjoys sweet food as well, so if you find yourself with a sweet tooth, you might be able to bond. And then after that, I will give you a look at the third and final form of Axew. Just let me turn my pages around here. And that, of course, is Haxorus. Now, the thing about Haxorus is it's very, very strong, with a base stat of 540 and the superior stat being 147 attack. But the thing is, it can take quite a while to level up, and it doesn't actually evolve until level 48. Obviously, we have the second form, but if you want the third and final form, it may take just a little bit of time. It's quite complicated when it comes to Haxorus, given that although it is very strong, it can take a little bit of time to level up, but that can also be beneficial given that you will be more than ready to take on, say, the Elite Four, for example, if you get to that point. Of course, speaking of the Elite Four, Haxorus is actually super effective against Drasna's Dragon type as well, and even a couple of champion Dianthus Pokemon if you ever get to that point with Tyrantrum and Gudra. So quite an interesting choice. So might be something worth considering if you like a little bit of a challenge. And the third and final evolution on the list, and arguably the most adorable, is Mareep. This is a pure electric type and has a calm nature, so this is increased special defense and decreased attack, but given that Mareep's entire evolution line is more focused on that special attack and defense, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And also with the increased special defense, that actually balances it more with the special attack, so quite a good choice, I would say. And of course, Mareep does enjoy bitter food as well, and it's also a handy choice given that it's strong against Viola's entire team, and it can even match Gym Leader Clement's electric type, although it'll obviously be evolved by then, possibly into Fluffy, its second form. But it's also super effective against Corona's Halucha, Ramos's Jumpluff, excuse me. So we have quite a good choice, I would say. And then after another look at the third form here, we have Ampharos, quite the favourite as well with a lot of people. And of course, Ampharos is also a pure electric type, and the base stat is 510, so again, over that 500 line. And then the superior stat is 115 special attack, so good. Ampharos also evolves at level 30, not Ampharos, Fluffy evolves into Ampharos at level 30, so again, quite a quick evolution line compared to, say, Haxorus. And Ampharos is also strong against, say, Gym Leader Olympia's Slowking, and also her Sigilyph as well. So, and actually, even the majority of the Elite Four. So, quite a solid choice if you intend to have Ampharos for the majority of the journey. But those are the three starters, my friend. So, what is your choice? Any ideas? That's what I thought. Perfect. Okay, well then, I would say that I will give you your Pokeball. We have it here, and the Pokemon should be well rested at this point as well. And of course, before you go, we will give you a couple of things to help you on your journey just to get started. Again, we at the Meridian's Gym here the Meridian's Lab, are responsible for making sure that you are prepared. We can't have you passing out or anything on your way to the first town, can we? So, here is your Pokemon. I hope you two work well together. I'm sure you will, so I'll just give that to you. And I think if you just head over there, I will be with you in a moment. I just need to take care of some business first, alright? Okay, see you soon. Oh, looks like I'm getting a call again. Okay, hello, you're back. So what happened? You were about to tell me something. Did you see a shiny Rayquaza in the Pokeball? What, just now? Just this minute?